Welcome to your essential business briefing. I'm Stephen Carroll. Coming up, dealing with the realities of Brexit, we speak to a whisky and gin maker in England facing big changes after January 1st. A house for just €1. Did an ambitious urban renewal project in France deliver on its promises? Plus, how the coronavirus pandemic has helped to boost toymakers based in France. 2021 will bring big changes for trade between the United Kingdom and the European Union. Regardless of any trade deal, companies shipping goods across the English Channel will need extra paperwork for imports and exports next year. That's going to have a major effect on British ports, with the British Retail Consortium saying it'll be the biggest addition of red tape in 50 years. Let's speak now to Daniel Szor, who's the founder of the Cotswolds Distillers in the west of England. Dan, thanks very much for being with us. You make gin, whisky and more there in your distillery. Give us an idea, though, how much do you rely on imports and exports for your business?
Well, for whiskey, we don't really rely on imports, but we do import botanicals for our gin, and we import all our glass from the EU. So, we have a sensitivity there. And of course, we do export. Probably about 25% of our revenue comes from export, and probably about half of that comes from the EU.
So what's going to change for you then from the 1st of January?
Well, that's a really good question. We've been waiting 2 years to find the answer to that, and we still don't really know. We sort of hope not too much in that we have our cousins up north who make an awful lot more whiskey than we do. And so whatever deal they'll have is what we'll have. And if it's WTO rules, it's WTO rules. But we would like to hope that as sort of a premium product, discretionary kind of spend, that will be okay. But certainly a bit of clarity would be appreciated.
Those botanicals that you import from the EU, is that something that you're going to have to worry about transport delays with? We've heard these warnings of extremely long queues coming into and going out of ports into the UK.
Definitely, we'll. We do worry about that, and in fact, our botanical supplier, who's UK based, and who supplies much of the UK gin industry with botanicals, has already kind of taken that into account and stockpiled a bit just to get over the initial hump. And in terms of the glass, the bottles that we bring in from Italy, we've also done quite a bit of stockpiling. So, we'd like to hope that sort of by the second quarter, there'd be some normalcy having returned, and then we could go back to business as usual and shorten our supply chains.
Has that been a big extra investment for you to have to make those stockpiles?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, one tends to stockpile in any case, really, in the fourth quarter, because that's such a big quarter for the drinks industry. So having to sort of do double big stockpiling, has not been easy for us.
In case there are any drinkers watching, is there any risk of a gin shortage in the UK after January 1st?
We'll take care of you, I'm sure. We've got enough gin to go around, we hope.
I'm interested in how your business strategy has evolved because of this. Had you been planning to focus on the EU market? Have you had to change any of your future plans as a result of the uncertainty?
No, I wouldn't say we have. The EU market is critical for us. I would say that two of our largest export sort of markets and targets are France and Germany, big part of the EU, and really all around the EU. I would say that in general, we believe it's really important to diversify for just these sort of reasons and not to have all of one's eggs in one basket. But, we know there's a demand. France is, I think, retains the title as the biggest whiskey drinking nation. And we've had great success in the past few years. So we hope that once we're through this kind of road bump, that'll continue.
Has all of this pushed you to focus on markets that are outside of the EU?
Definitely. Look, I mean, we feel that Asia is still a big growth story for premium drinks. They love what it is that we do, and I think, to be quite honest, they've come out of the sort of first wave and the initial phase of the pandemic in better shape than Europe. So Japan, very important market for us, but China is really the elephant in the room, and I think there'll be a lot of growth there. So we're putting quite a lot of focus in Asia as well as Europe.
What's been the effect of the pandemic on your business this year?
Well, a lot of pivoting and reorientation, simply because one of the channels that we have traditionally supplied, the on-trade, hospitality, bars, pubs, restaurants, etc., has pretty much just ceased to exist for all intents and purposes. Whereas the online sort of and direct-to-consumer channels and the grocery channels, the off-trade channels, have done quite well. I think everyone's become a bit more of a bartender and a chef in lockdown. So there's a lot more sort of exploratory behavior. So the ability to reach out directly to consumers without the intermediaries of bars and restaurants becomes essential for survival. So that's been a sort of a pivot that we've had to make.
When you look at 2021 now, with the uncertainty around the end of the Brexit transition period and everything to do with the pandemic, what do you see your business looking like next year?
Well, I see it as more of the same. I think that as a small brand, the most important thing that you can do is to retain your relevance, your salience, really, to consumers, because everybody is trying to get those eyes and ears and taste buds, and there's a lot of firms out there with a lot more money and a lot bigger marketing budgets than us. So we have to be innovative, we have to be new. But luckily, I think there is a trend that people are caring more and more about authenticity and products that have real provenance. So we're on the right side of that trend. So, hoping for more of the same. And we prepared for a really difficult year, but we ended up actually up year on year from 2019. So we really couldn't ask for much more.
Okay, Dan Szor from Cotswolds Distillers, thank you very much for speaking to us. Now, a house for just €1 sounds like an offer that's too good to be true. In 2018, the northern French city of Roubaix offered more than a dozen properties for this tiny price in an effort to revive parts of decaying neighbourhoods. The buyers had to commit to major renovations, but not all of their dream homes became a reality. Catherine Kadir-Clifford reports.
For the price of a croissant, this primary school teacher has just bought her first house. She's now the owner of this newly renovated 90-metre squared space. The works cost €130,000, but half of this was subsidised.
I wasn't a homeowner before, and now I am. It means no longer throwing money away, but investing it.
This is what the house looked like just a year ago, after lying empty for several years. The low price tag comes with the obligation to keep within strictly defined renovations. In the northern town of Roubaix, municipal authorities launched 17 similar projects in working-class neighbourhoods. The aim, to allow people of modest incomes to access the housing market. This couple also took a gamble on a €1 house.
The first time we saw the house, we said there's a lot of work, but there's a lot of potential too.
But after 18 months of paperwork, the process came to a standstill when the bank refused their mortgage. They've now moved to a neighbouring region.
We were both extremely disappointed because we had put a lot of energy into it. We could really see ourselves living there. The works were supposed to start in October.
Out of the 17 houses up for sale, 10 have found buyers and 3 are waiting for paperwork to be finalised. Organisers have decided to make some changes to the system.
We knew it wouldn't go smoothly, but we saw quite a lot of problems with the banks, and that's one of the outcomes we're looking to address.
The renovation of these long-abandoned homes is giving hope to other residents in the neighbourhood.
When there's an empty house, you see everything: dirt, mice.
4 homes in Roubaix remain up for sale for just €1.
There'll be something a bit different about some of the toys under Christmas trees in France this year. A number of French toy makers have moved their production back home in 2020, partly because of the coronavirus pandemic. Monty Francis reports.
Toys remain essential this year in spite of the health crisis. These are all made in France and have the labels to prove it. In this factory, they're making an electronic storybox for kids ages 3 to 8. Production was relocated from China to France this summer.
On the day of our grand opening, we restarted production here, and we were happy to cut the ribbon and to announce the production is French.
But the Made in France label comes with a cost. Production in France is typically 5 to 10% more expensive compared to outsourcing to China. To mitigate that difference, the company relies on an army of machines. These here verify the quality of the product. Fewer defects in production, and half of the employees needed, just 20 compared to 40 workers in China. Typically, just 14% of toys sold in France are made in the country, but the pandemic is changing that. This manufacturer in the south of France makes board games, and this year it has more customers from Europe and Asia than usual.
What explains this is also the cost of transport by sea has skyrocketed these past months, and delivery time has been 2 or 3 times longer. So that's good for us.
Bringing the business home is good news for French toymakers. This year, it's estimated that the French will spend an estimated €3.5 billion on toys and games for Christmas.
Well, that's it from us for now, but you'll find all of our previous episodes on our website, france24.com. And you'll find the best of our business coverage on our social media accounts. Until next time, thanks for watching.
Your needs are changing, and so is France24.com. With articles, reports, the latest international news, all our programmes available on replay, together with live broadcasting 24/7. Intuitive, fast, and available in 4 languages. France24.com. Liberté, égalité, actualité.